Hello everyone, it's Rob from Jacobite Solutions, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about our Mark II Baby Key and why it is designed the way it's designed. First of all, things you need to know about keys is that they're really far better than shimming. Shimming will only get you so far in a handcuff. Some unprofessional forces, mainly in the third world, or if you've got some slight incompetence in a force, they will not double lock cuffs, in which case you can use a shim. But most doctrine requires that of a cuff being double locked. Some cuffs you can unlock with things like a bobby pin or some other kind of tools, but you're getting into the realms of being quite finicky. Whereas it's for the space that a bobby pin takes up, you're always much better having a key. The first thing that we thought about when it came to designing a key was, first of all, what cuffs do we want to attack? Do we want to attack Chinese cuffs, which are totally different? Do we want to attack just Russian cuffs? Do we want to attack, basically we decided any Smith & Wesson pattern key would work. But we also decided it would be better to include a slight modification to the key flag. This being the key flag a little bit here. Now, most key flags you will see are solid. They have no separation. They're really tiny. They're just a little nib on the end of it. That will work for most Smith & Wesson pattern cuffs. Everything from these cheap kind of combat cuffs, these British Police TCH cuffs, and even these Russian pattern BRS3 cuffs. But that being said, all cuffs are not created equal. You will find that different cuffs also have a different size pin, and they will have a different size pinhole. So just because you have one key from one cuff, it doesn't mean it will fit another cuff. This is the problem we encountered when it came to designing this key, is that we could get it to fit most cuffs, but the pin size in the hole, the variation is a complete menace. For instance, TCH cuffs and these cheap cuffs and some security cuffs, they will generally be the same. But these Russian BRSC cuffs, this key fits. The key that we had fit one side, but on the other side, the pin was so out of spec that we had to go completely back to the drawing board and figure out a new kind of key. Following us to thin the wall out of the key even more, and yeah, it's a pain. The next, with the key flag, you'll see it split. Again, it's not common you'll run across them, but companies like Asp and Chicago, they do have what is called a security cuff. And a security cuff will be a cuff that has a blocking bar in the mechanism, which will stop you from being able to turn the key. The split key flag enables you to turn that key within that cuff and avoid the blocking bar. Sometimes they don't have a shim blocker. You see in here there's a split in the teeth of the cuff. That's because, you should be able to see it, there's a bar in the middle there. So even if the cuff isn't double locked, you will still require a shim that's been modified in some way to be able to pass in between those. But again, it's always better to have a key. The next problem with the key is that it becomes so small that it gets too fiddly and too complicated to move, especially when you're blind, cuffed to the rear, or you're covered, your eyes are covered. What we did was, and this is quite unique to our own Baby Key Mark II, is you'll see that the keyhole, well, not the keyhole, the eye hole is ovular. The reason for that is instead of a normal jump ring, which we do supply with the Baby Keys, you can also fit things like our own handcuff shim into the hole to allow for turning, and it will also accept the bobby pins we sell. This makes it much easier to handle and much easier to gain leverage, because again, not all cuffs are created equal. Particularly new cuffs will be quite stiff because they haven't had the chance to wear out as much, and older cuffs or out of spec cuffs like the Russian cuffs here, they can actually be quite a pain. The last thing that went into our design was the concept of failure. What happens when a key fails? Many cuffs will break in the middle or on the bottom near the key flag. The problem with that is it then becomes not only an issue to remove the broken key, but you also can't get another key in often, because when it breaks off below the surface of the cuff. So it often breaks off flush, just because that's just physics. However, what we've managed to do is incorporate a weak point into the key, which is this, again, ovular eye hole here. So when you turn, it will break off, but it does leave you enough length so that you can extract the key by hand, or as we have done a few times, so if you are able to retrieve a broken key, say during practice or whatever, you can often place a bit of diamond wire down the middle, bit of heat shrink where between the broken bit and the diamond wire, and you can then have an extended key. One thing we did leave out, you'll notice a lot of modified keys will have an angular cut along the bottom of the key opposite to the key flag. We left that out because that's more of a handling thing, and believe it's more a user preference. So if the user chooses to take a bit of sandpaper or sand the corner down and make it angular, that's up to them. Personally, I find it much easier to just have a hole that fits properly. All of our keys, they are 3D printed out of metal. However, they are all hand finished, so they all meet the spec. So they'll meet British THH cuffs, Smith & Wesson cuffs, Chicago X22s. But also, if you get a dodgy pair of cuffs like these Russian cuffs, they will also fit like so, and they will turn quite nicely. And that's everything. So please enjoy our cuffs. They're on jacobitesolutions.co.uk. You will find them in the Sear or Escape and Evasion section of our site, and there are also more pictures to go along there. I think there is a broken key picture there that shows you how these things actually break. Thank you very much for watching.